My name is Markus. I'm from Green Datacenter AG in Switzerland. We are a pure Swiss company, part of the critical infrastructure. We have very important clients like big banks, also the Swiss Stock Exchange, and therefore, if green is down, Switzerland is down. We are also number one in this market space. Now, my job is to take care about the financial services customers, and I'm also the AI lead. I've been working in AI for the last 25 years. Now, what we're proposing here is AI as a service. We differentiate ourselves that we don't cost that much as other hyperscalers. We work with them. They're also our partners, but we develop solutions with our ecosystems, such as Phoenix, Lenovo, HPE, and others. Thank you. So, first some words about green. We are the biggest data center provider in Switzerland. We are also part of the critical infrastructure. So if green will be down, Switzerland will be down. That means you could not do any trades because the Swiss Stock Exchange 6 is one of our clients. Also Zurich Insurance. I'm also responsible for the FSI market. We have, of course, many private banks, many crypto banks as our customers, and we operate in a highly secure and highly energy efficient environment. Manfred touched this point, data, yes? No AI model is good without not good data. So the bigger the pool you have of data, the better the model is becoming. And it's very simple. This is an article from 2017 from The Economist. Why aren't we all rich? Very simple. Because often we don't have the data, we cannot access it, and training that is a challenge. Now, if you look at the development of the different technologies, one of your questions was, since when does AI exist? Well, you could say it started 1950 with the Turing test. That was something that some scientists tried to simulate the human thinking behavior. But AI is basically mathematics, yes? And AI, the models like linear regression is around much longer. It was developed in the 19th century. So many things we call AI nowadays already exists for a very long time. The difference is, of course, that we have more memory and we have more compute power. Now, AI has had a boost in 2007 with Big Blue. Now, of course, it's taking off. But with these huge models like GPT-3, I'm going to talk in a minute, you have also the problem that some algorithms produce synthetic data. Now, if you look at the development of all these algorithms, Google, Microsoft, also Meta did quite a lot of work. Now, why do you think spent Microsoft 11 billion for OpenAI? What do you think? What's the reason? They want to make money. So if they can take 1% of market share from Google, that means 2 billion additional revenue. So that means 5% market share from Google, Microsoft makes 10 billion. It's a no-brainer. But of course, you cannot use these huge models for your everyday life. You can do it with BERT large for NLP or Flare from Zalando, which is open source as well, or different other models. Now, of course, and now I'm coming to the point, why is this relevant for green? We're a data center company. It needs a lot of computing power. So initially, to train this GPT-3 algorithm, they needed 10,000 GPUs. So don't mix it with CPUs, GPUs. And they had like 285,000 processors. The model is, I think, about 540 terabyte big, so a lot of data. Now, of course, if you in your company want to develop big models, you need a lot of compute power, you need a lot of data, and it doesn't make sense to buy it on yourself. Now, of course, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, they made a lot of money last year during the pandemic. With that, the cloud business was exploding. Now, question, how much does Amazon charge you to use a GPT-3 model in a 3-year case? How many millions do they want? Guess? Give me a number. 100 million? Not bad. It's not enough. It's not enough. 103 million is if you buy 1,000 GPUs from Google, which are NVIDIA processors, A100. Now the A100 is already old generation. The newest one is H100, Hotel 100, not Alpha 100. Okay, and this is just a processor. But Amazon, in addition, has all the models and the framework in place. So give me another number, not 100, it's more. 215 million they want from you as a client to run something like GPT-3. Now, each time you train the model, they want to have another 5.7 million. Yeah? Because to train this model, it takes another 2 weeks and about 1,000 processors. You know, so this is our business. By the way, all the hyperscalers are our customers. If you have a Swiss cloud with one of the hyperscalers, you're in our data center. We're not allowed to say who are our customers, except we have an approval from legal. But if we say it's all hyperscalers, it should be an answer enough. Now, there are different use cases and areas of AI. My favorite is NLP, natural language processing. And of course, with NER, named entity recognition, you have a very nice use case. I will talk about that on my next slide. Now, if you do computer vision, Manfred was talking about, it needs huge amount of computing power. So I was on a project with the big oil companies in Texas. So whenever they have the seismic data, it takes the data engineers about 1 year to make a model in order to come up with the precise location where to drill a hole. So drilling a hole for big oil means 100 million. Yeah? And if you drill it on the wrong area, or if there is no oil, go buy 100 million. So big money, big computing power. And of course also when I was in China working, I had projects with Chile and Great Wall, etc. What do you think? How much data does one car collect with the cameras driving around? One day, driving around, how much data? 1 terabyte?
2 terabytes. 5 terabytes. 15 terabytes.
8. 8 terabyte, one car, one day. So one second has 60 frames. So there's many pictures. And if you have to label that, it's a lot of compute power. So just these two examples, computer vision for autonomous driving or for big oil, a lot of compute power, a lot of data. Of course, we all know the recommendation systems, from Amazon or Alibaba, etc. I had a very interesting speech when I was in China working. NVIDIA Chief Executive Officer said, the time of search is over, it's the time of recommendation. Now I'm coming to that point I was mentioning earlier, that synthetic data. I have a very close person of mine working for a huge Swiss industrial equipment company. They produce gear that moves every day 1 billion people. So maybe you can imagine who it is. Maybe. So they want to have a pricing system, yes? Because they want to win profitable projects. If it would be Schindler, how shall I price my escalator in Dubai, and how shall I price it in Mumbai in a mall? Different prices, even though they will probably come from this big factory from Shanghai. So the challenge is that this is also a machine learning tool, yes? And it's very careful that the algorithm is not creating its own reality. Yeah? That you can separate what is synthetic data and what is real data. So a huge effort for that in machine learning, in deep learning. And of course, if you look at AI for science, if you want to come up with an algorithm to develop new drugs, you can turn it around and also develop poison gas. One guy did that, and he came up with 40 new poison gas solutions that people were not thinking of. And that's also something for the podium discussion, ethical AI, or humble AI, some people call it. Now, to give you an example about some use cases of NLP. This is an email from a customer saying more or less, when I discovered my credit score drop, I requested a free report from Mr. XYZ. I discovered the false reporting by Mercedes-Benz Financial Services, etc. So this can be an email, this can be a transcript from a call center discussion, and then you run it through the algorithm. Of course, not OpenAI, because if you publish your data to OpenAI, everybody can use it. So it's like a free check. Of course, you want to have your own algorithms in-house, not to share it with your competitor or anybody else. That's why you need us. So there is one thing which is called document classification. It says, okay, it is credit reporting. It goes to the appropriate department. Sentiment analysis, which is it's a positive, negative, or neutral message. You can accordingly escalate the ticket. Content summarization we saw today with ChatGPT, and also my favorite is named entity recognition, which is a huge benefit for any corporation who wants to run the contract through that algorithm. So the efficiency increase is 200 to 400% minimum.
Sorry, a small question. Can you turn back to the slide? You have here samples of emails, but how about telephone? That's still used, I guess. And I could imagine as a sentiment analysis can be done also by the voice recognition, I guess. Yeah. So that would apply as well in that case.
Yes, so Siri, Alexa, they're all NLP system. Yeah. Because it's speech to text. Yeah. And then you have a transcript from the conversation of the call center.
I see. Okay.
And then this text can be can run through the algorithm.
I see.
Doing exactly that. Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, of course, there are many different use cases per industry. We heard this very interesting speech from Manfred about energy, the energy industry. So, just imagine you are an energy producing and energy trading company. Let's say you do 5 billion of revenue. So if you can increase with the algorithm 1% of your business, it means 50 million. Now, this data comes from the hydraulic power, from the wind power, maybe from the atomic power plant, whatever. So many IoT data is coming in. You need weather data. Yes. Is it going to rain? Is there going to be wind? Is it going to be cloudy? Can we produce solar power? Can we produce wind power? All this data you don't want to put onto the public cloud. Why? We learned it's expensive. Now, if you go on the public cloud, it's not only you pay for the space, but also, I have now the case with a bank in Switzerland, a big one, that they want to have a backup of the cloud. So FINMA, the regulation authority in Switzerland, says you need to back up your Azure cloud. Because when Azure is down, the backup of Azure is down, the bank is not able to work. So, do you think it's cheap to take your own data from the cloud? No. It's really crazy. You pay, for example, at Alibaba for 50 terabyte, $6,300 just to get your own data. And Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, they charge in between $3,300 and $4,300 just to get your own data out. If you put the data up, the same story. If you store the data, same story. That's why they make so much money. Now, our value proposition is the following. It's a very busy slide. What we do is infrastructure. And we have this ecosystem I'm going to talk about later. So in order to have AI as a service, you need storage, server, virtualization, operating system, the whole middleware, and also ETL. ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. That takes care about the data silos, data quality. Then, of course, you need a runtime. This is something the hyperscalers are offering. They're very good at that. Yeah. Now, of course, with these 215 million I was talking about earlier, you don't have anybody helping you with the use cases. Where are the low-hanging fruits? How can I make money? That's where we come in with our ecosystem, whether it's universities or consulting companies like Deloitte, Accenture, where I have been working with too, where I've worked for. So the consulting partners of us, they help to define the scope of the project, do all the data handling, do the models, either on the cloud if the customer wishes, because we benefit from that as well, or of course with our AI as a service private cloud. The benefits I probably pointed out before. So that's what we do. So our USPs are that it is in Switzerland, it is trusted, we are Swiss. Many banks say we don't want to have anything with an American provider because they can take our data and it is end-to-end. Yeah? From the data center space up to the use case to the final model. We are hybrid, of course, because this journey to the cloud is something that is not going to happen 100% next year, because there are often many legacy applications like mainframe, high-performance computing applications. You cannot just move to the cloud. We can help them with this co-location approach, and this is our ecosystem. Now, in order to help generate value for our clients, I came up with this framework that we have a discovery workshop with the customer to see where is the value. We articulate the value with a value hypothesis. Yes. To also get the senior management stakeholders buy-in. We then run the AI pilot to prove it. Later, of course, it needs change management, which our consulting colleagues or universities do with us, either for big corporations or SMB market players. And then the question is how you can monetize it. So it's journey to the new. Thank you very much. That was my speech.
Thank you very much, Markus. I have a question with regard to this 80 terabyte. That's the Google car collecting this information. And that's right, or 80 terabyte. 8 terabyte. Sorry, 8 terabyte.
But it's not the Google car, it's just like film material.
My question to this is, what is the percentage of trash this car is collecting? As a trash data. Is there an estimation? Is it more than 50%?
Under that model, nothing is trash.
Under that model, nothing is trash. Okay.
It's going to record the velocity of the rubber at 20 miles an hour when you make a turn at a specific angle. That's a lot of data just by itself. None of that's trash.
Okay. What?
Of the perspective.
Sorry.
This is a question of the perspective. Out of the view of the people who are very fans of data and collect data and want to know everything about anything, 100% of the data are not trash. Out of the view of normal beings who say, and look to this data, they say, I would say 99% is trash. So this is just a way of the perspective.
Yeah, sure. But maybe it's a bad example. Another example I experienced myself. I did also a little bit exercise on ChatGPT, etc. And 90% of the results said, okay, that's so nice to know, but I don't use it anymore. I do not look at it anymore. It's stored for nothing, basically. And this kind of critical thing. I mean, when you have a business model that based on how much terabyte you can sell, then maybe it's not in your interest to identify maybe AI-based trash. You know what I mean? Is that something that could be considered, or what do you think about this idea that you also maybe help a client to reduce the trash level of data that he stores?
Well, you know, some AI specialists, they produced monthly bills of 100 to 400,000 Swiss francs per month because they upload, download, and compute so much data, and it is really not transparent. There is not like a calculator or configurator to say what's going to be my monthly bill. So they make a lot of money. And of course, the hyperscalers, they're happy about sending big checks out, sending big invoices out.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, everything is relative. Now with this autonomous driving, now AI model is training the AI model. That means, you know, you've got a stoplight, you've got reflection from the sun or whatever.
Yeah.
This goes back to nothing is trash. There's an event that occurs occasionally. The AI is going to pinpoint the most optimal performance and identify the person who created data that avoided an accident in an optimal way, and it will use that data to drive autonomous driving algorithmic models, because in the event it's faced with that scenario again, it will recall the one or more events that were optimal in avoiding the accident. It's like law. What's the case at bar that governs best?
Is there an expression, AI experience? I mean, when we navigate through the world, we say, I have experience in that. That means there are many learning loops behind me. Does this work also in AI space? Can you talk about experience? So you have now the new version 5, I guess, just went out. And then I would assume that some stuff has disappeared.
Well, it's very important. As I wanted to make this example with the pricing model, you know, you need to retrain and refine the model all the time.
Yeah.
Because you cannot just have the algorithm, train it once, and it will be perfect. That's not going to work.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's many iteration. And also now with Microsoft coming out with Bing and GPT-4, they pushed it out. They fired people from the ethical AI department. Now there are only 7 left because they said, "Ooh, we have to watch out what this algorithm is producing." And then one of your question is, first one to the market.
That's an opener for the panel.